Welcome to Split Specific, your channel for useful splitboarding knowledge. Today we're hanging out on the couch to talk about splitboard climbing skins. So let's get into it. Alright, so we're kind of breaking this video down into a few parts. I started to put it all together and realized that there's no need on this earth for a 30-minute video about splitboard skins. So we're going to break it down a little bit more. I know that my splitboard buyer's guide was kind of long, thinking about maybe breaking that up in the future too. So to start with skins, this video is just going to be kind of a how to purchase skins, looking at different parts of the skin, things we're looking for. And then I'm going to do a separate video on cutting skins. It's not going to be super in-depth, but just some key points to hit on when you're cutting skins. And then from there, I'm going to do a video on skin care. So that's going to be in the field skin care, as well as what to do with your skins when you get home. So I have a few different pairs of skins here in front of me, a couple different brands and a couple different styles of skin. I kind of cover the bases of different skins you can purchase with just these three here. So I'm going to use these as my examples for what we're looking for when we're buying skins. So when I'm thinking about buying climbing skins, I'm looking at three major things. First is going to be the plush, next is going to be the tip and tail connection, and then third is going to be the glue. So when we're talking about climbing skin plush, we pretty much have two options. We have nylon climbing skins and mohair nylon mix climbing skins. Both have different characteristics that set them apart, and I'm going to help you choose which one's right for you. So let's start with nylon. Nylon is typically going to be the cheaper option of the two, so you're going to see a lot of beginning splitboarders with nylon. That being said, I think that nylon can be a really good skin option for people of all ability levels. So what are some things that characterize a nylon plush? Well, first, all these little fibers on the carpet clearly are made out of nylon. Nylon is known for its really good grip capabilities, but it's not necessarily known for its glide. So it does glide pretty well across the top of the snow, and glide's important because that's less friction when we're dragging our ski upwards, which means more efficiency for our skinning. That being said, if our skin doesn't grip very well and we're slipping backwards all the time, we're losing a lot of energy in that sense. So for nylon skins, I usually recommend them to people who are just starting out or don't have great skinning technique yet, because I think that the energy savings you'll get from better grip are going to surpass the loss of energy you're going to experience from lack of glide. Moving on from grip and glide, nylon skins are known for being more durable than mohair skins. I know that personally I've had some nylon skins last me up to 6 years before I've decided to replace them. So they don't tear as easily, don't get cuts or nicks as easily, and that can be really nice if you're working on a budget and you're just trying to get something that's going to last a long time. One downside to nylon skins, besides the decreased glide, is going to be their bulk. So this pair of G3s, these are brand new this year, and I think that for a nylon skin, honestly, they fold up pretty small. But if we were to compare those to a similar G3 skin that's made out of mohair, you can see these pack down just a little bit smaller. And if we go even over to these Pomokas here, you know, that's like a beer can right there. So these pack down pretty small. So these are going to be a little bit bulkier, and they're definitely going to be a little bit heavier too. But with that bulk and weight, you do get the benefits of better grip, lower cost, and more durability. Okay, so moving on to mohair skins. Mohair skins are actually made out of animal hair fibers. Specifically, it's a goat hair fiber, which is pretty cool. They're definitely lighter than those nylon skins. They tend to pack down a lot nicer. They're super slim, and they have really good grip to glide characteristics. So people really like mohair because it glides really well across the snow, which gives us better efficiency when we're skinning uphill. And for how much glide you get, if you have good skinning technique, they tend to grip pretty well too. That being said, if you're just learning, you don't have great skinning technique yet, there is a difference between how well these grip compared to nylon, and you're definitely going to see less grip characteristics with these. But for the experienced skinner with good technique, these will do you just fine. One downside to mohair is definitely the durability of them. I've replaced mohair skins way more often than I have nylon skins. It kind of comes with that thinner, lighter, a little bit less durable thing that we see across all outdoor sports. So the more lightweight equipment you buy, a little bit less durable it's going to be. But with trade-offs, you get a much lighter skin and more efficiency out of it. One other thing to note about mohair is that it's not inherently waterproof. So most companies are going to add a waterproofing agent to their mohair. This can mean that waterproofing agent might wear out over time. You might notice your skin's collecting more water, especially in like spring conditions where we have soggy snow. And nylon is going to absorb less water because it's just a plastic essentially, right? So that's one thing to note about mohair as well. I've never really had a problem with it, but if you are in super wet climates all the time, maybe not the best option, especially if you're going through a lot of melt freeze cycles and stuff like that. So moving on from plush, the next thing I'm going to look at when I'm purchasing skins is that tip and tail connection. So with these Pomoka skins here, we pretty much have the most basic tip and tail connection we can find. There's just this wire loop on the tip, and then on the tail there's just this Splitboard specific plastic piece that's designed to match up with the straight edge of your board and the side cut edge of your board. These I think kind of come from skiing, because skis, the skins they use, a tip loop works fine. It slides over the ski super easily. One thing that I personally don't like about tip loops is that they get caught on the tip of our split board because we have our tip and tail clips on there. So I'm just going to demonstrate that real quick. So here you can see I have my split board, and on the tip here I have my tip connection loop here. On the other side of the board, it has that little rivet piece. And what we find with these tip loops is that when you slide this over, one thing I found is with some brands, this can get caught on that when you're setting the skin on, which makes aligning your skin kind of challenging. But to me, more of what I notice is this loop getting caught on my tip connection. So if you live in a really windy place, like I do, and you're taking your skins off in the wind and just trying to move quick, it can be kind of frustrating to deal with getting this stuck on that and trying to wiggle it off of there. Is it a deal breaker? No, it's just kind of nitpicky, but it is one thing that I think as far as splitboard design goes, we could do better. That being said, most of the brands you're going to look at have tip loops, and if you're working on a budget, it's probably going to end up being the sort of connection you get. Not a huge deal. One other thing with this too is that if you are using tip loops, be careful not to tug on this too much. I have torn a skin in half doing that, and also I have broken my tip connections doing that. So just be really careful with these. Try and take the time to slide them off properly so you're not breaking stuff. So another option for our tip and tail connection is sort of this hook design here. So this is actually one of the major reasons I decided to go with G3 skins on my new boards this season, was I wanted to get back to this hook connection for the front of my board instead of the tip loop. So with the hook connection, and these skins are actually the skins for this board, all I have to do is just line the straight arm up. So we have a fixed straight arm here, and then a movable arm for the side cut edge. So all I have to do is just pop that on, line up that straight edge, get the movable arm in the right place. I don't even really need to touch it. All I got to do is just kind of tug down on it and it'll set itself. And then my inside edge is lined up here and I'm ready to pull that skin down onto my board. And then when I take it off, you can see it's quite easy. If we look at this side of the board here, super clean connection here, doesn't get in the way of anything, and I can just pop these off. They don't get in the way of any of my important parts on my split board. So that's another tip connection option. And then the last tip connection option, which I don't have an example of here, is that some brands have brand-specific Splitboard skins where there's a hole in the tip of the board, and then for your skin, there's just a little loop that fits into that hole. Pull it down, and there's usually a similar attachment point on the other end of the board as well to hook that into. I think that's a super slick option. If you happen to come across that with the company board you buy, it's definitely worth looking into just buying the skin that goes with that board, and a lot of companies are just going to offer it as a package. One downside I can see to that is that if you don't like the skin that the company that the company uses with the Splitboard, like their partner, so say you buy a board and they have these specific tip and tail connections and they're only with Pomoka skins, and you don't like Pomoka skins for whatever reason, if you want to use those connections, you have to use those skins. I think that the industry is moving more towards those kind of connections being what our boards use, and in the future that might change, but for now that's just how it is. Other connection I'm going to look at is that tail connection. So most Splitboard skins kind of have this adjustable tail here. So there's a plastic piece on this Pomoka skin, and then there's kind of this nice burly rubber piece here that you can tug against to create tension. Doesn't feel like it's going to rip. And you get this where you need it so that you have just a little bit of tension on the back of your board. And then this tail piece will just sit right on there. So here's the tail of this board here. Once I get my skin on the board, all I've got to do is just pull some tension, match up that straight side, match up the curled side, and then that's going to sit right on the end of my board there. And then when I'm ready to take it off, I just kind of pull and pop it off of there. Super simple. Only downside I can see to these really is that this is kind of just some really lightweight plastic that breaks pretty easily. So there is that going on, and sometimes adjusting it can be kind of a pain in the butt, but not really much more than any other brand. So that's one kind of tail connection. The other kind of tail connection, which exists on these G3 skins, is kind of this tensioning arm here. So you can see if I flip this over, that arm goes over the board. So to take the tail off, you can see that just folds over. To put it on, I just line that straight edge up and then cam that on, and that'll lock that into position. This creates maybe a little bit more security. Downsides to this one, and this may not be true of the G3 one, but Black Diamond has a similar tail attachment, and I've had this happen with them. Pulling that lever on and off all the time really tears up your gloves. I have a lot of old pairs of gloves with holes in the pointer finger and thumb. So this one here, you can kind of just use this strap, it looks like, to pull that off. So maybe this one will save that, but just know that's maybe one downside. And then the last kind of tailpiece connection, again, is just that specific tailpiece connection. So there's a hole or a notch in the tail of the board, and then you just have a piece that fits inside of that notch. Super simple, super clean. So the last thing we're going to look at, and I'm sure people are surprised that I'm putting this at the end, or kind of maybe my least important thing I look at, is going to be the glue of this skin. So climbing skin glue has come a long ways in the last few years. I think that amongst a lot of the brands that I've tried, it all feels pretty similar. There's definitely some brands that feel a little better than others, but in general, they all work pretty well in the cold. They all come apart decently well. They all come off your board decently well, and they all kind of last about the same amount of time. And how long they last really just comes down to how well you take care of the skin. So essentially all that our glue is just this adhesive that's spread on the back of our skin, and it sticks to this clean side of the skin. And then when you put it on your board, it keeps the skin attached to your board. And then when you peel the skin off, all the glue stays on the skin and none of it sticks to the base of the board. That is, if you're taking proper care of your skins. Eventually, with age, that glue will change over time and wear out, as all glue does across the universe, and it will start sticking to the base of your board. How quick that happens kind of depends on how much you take care of your skin glue. But if it does start happening and the plush of your skin is still good, it's not super tore up, you can re-glue your skins. And we'll talk about that in another video. But the big thing when it comes to purchasing these is that across brands, you're stuck with that brand's glue. There's not really different glue per model of skin. So, you know, these Nylon G3 skins and these mohair G3 skins, they have the same glue on them. I'm stuck with G3 glue. Same goes for Bimboca, same goes for pretty much all climbing skin brands. So really, I think that you shouldn't necessarily be purchasing your skins based off of glue. You know, as you get further into your splitboarding career, you may start noticing differences between them and starting to pick from there, but it's really hard to go wrong in today's industry. All right, so that's kind of our purchasing guide for splitboard skins. Now you know a little bit more about the different types and what you're looking for, and hopefully you can use that information to help you decipher what's being said online and what you're being told by shop retailers, so that way you can make an informed decision about what's best for you. Coming up next, we're going to have a video about cutting skins. If you're still looking at purchasing skins, you haven't picked a pair yet, I highly recommend you check out that video. Not all skins are designed the same. Some are definitely more challenging to cut than others. So that'd be a good follow-up to watch after this to help you pick a pair of skins, depending on if you're tech savvy or not. But if you've already purchased a pair of skins, you're kind of having trouble, the manufacturing videos aren't helping you that much, check our videos out for just some quick tips that we've learned along the years to help us cut our skins. All right, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe.